Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you a look at this new work in progress Star Trek ship here. I got quite a bit done to it over the last couple days. Been pretty motivated on it. Sort of excited right now. I'll just fly around a little bit here and let you take a look at what is here, and then I'll kind of compare it a little bit to the Proxima on some specifications and planned ideas on how I want to outfit this ship. Uh, right now, I'm definitely steering for a higher end model versus the Proxima, which is probably going to be for or make a very expensive ship. And I just wanted to run that by you to see what you guys think as well. Um, so to start with here, a lot of design changes were done between these two ships here. The Proxima, the way the nacelles were placed, well, the Proxima, keep in mind, was trying to be an older school Star Trek ship, based around like the original Enterprise and maybe a generation above the original Enterprise, but not up to the next generation style ships. So definitely an older school ship. It is fairly skinny. If you take a look at this the central area here, it's not very big. It had a fairly long neck, pretty long nacelle pylons. I think those are called the arms connecting the nacelles and stuff like that. So this new ship is quite a lot larger, and the reason why it's larger isn't necessarily on its physical dimensions, like its length and width. It has to do with its interior space, and the way this new ship is configured, it is a lot wider going down the central body of it, about twice the width of that of the Proxima, and not to mention it also has a vastly larger saucer on it, which is taller as well, and a much almost a no neck kind of set up here, where the neck is really wide and pretty spacious versus the more smaller neck on the Proxima over here. So essentially speaking, I'm guessing that the interior space on this ship is probably 3 to 4 times that of the Proxima, actually. And you can kind of tell the amount of space inside the saucer area alone, plus all the space back over here. And I don't even have the whole back of the ship done up here yet, so this is going to be extending back a little bit more and whatnot. Now this ship is currently built with steel. And I plan on using steel for its main construction material and then backing up things with xenoblocks. So I already did pop in some xenoblocks in the nacelles like I did with the Proxima as well, basically dividing layers between each thruster in case one gets shot somewhere. It won't start a chain reaction, taking out all the thrusters in a nacelle area. Also, I'm kind of excited that I don't have any thrusters whatsoever in the saucer area, or nothing at all. The saucer itself, the height of this is tall enough to allow to put in large shield parts inside of even the saucer, and not to mention there's a lot of room down in this area as well. So my current plans on outfitting the ship would be to make it beefier than that of the Proxima. Definitely an endgame ship is what I'm steering towards. Uh, and what I mean by that is I'm kind of planning on 2 fusion reactors, a full load of 8 large shield parts, 8 medium shield parts, and 8 small shield parts. And then for weaponry and things like that, I'm also kind of comparing that to the Proxima. Now, the Proxima had quite a lot of launchers on it. I believe it had 12 launcher positions, I think. We got 8 right there and another 4 on top over here. This one I was planning on having 16 launcher positions. The Proxima, I think, had somewhere in the 40s on turrets, maybe even a little bit lower than that. I would have to count them all up, but all the turrets are retractable, and I do plan on doing the same method with this new ship. I don't really want those turrets to be seen unless it's in combat, just to keep it more Star Trek-like, where you don't have these big gun emplacements all over the ship, which would be kind of uncharacteristic of a Star Trek ship. But this one's got more space for that, and I do plan on probably getting 60 to 80 turrets on here, combined with about the biggest shield I could put on here without going to a Bastion shield in Reforged Eden, but at least with your standard shield parts to really kind of max that out, and then the combination of 2 fusion reactors as well, which also gives the shield a boost on recharge rate, which is definitely a good thing too. So that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. Now, currently, I have 10 launchers installed on here. I don't know if I'm going to keep some of these launcher positions, like on the front here. I may, though. And I also put in another little grouping of launchers so far over on the sides here, although I'm probably going to rework this a little bit. I had to remove this one wedge block here to fit this second launcher, and I don't really like removing that block. I rather have it smooth there, so I'll probably modify the design on that. And then, yeah, plan out the whole top side of the saucer, and the whole back part of the ship is coming next. Now, some other questions that were asked too, or a comment that was brought up about having the saucer basically removable from the main ship. Now, that was brought up when I was building the Proxima a while back too, and I decided against it. And just to go over the pros and cons of doing that. First, I think a detachable saucer would be really, really cool. It fits in the lore of Star Trek perfectly, and I believe it's technically possible to do it in Empyrion. So it's not really a snag. Like it could be done, and I could, I believe, set up some kind of landing mechanism to accurately land the saucer back onto the back portion of the ship. So those are both pros, but there's a lot of cons to it too. Big con has to do with, well, it would have to be two separate ships then, and literally I would have to put in all the parts, all the thrusters and everything into the saucer as well. So 6-direction thrusters mounted in this area, plus all its power management, everything that it would need to be, say, maybe a combat-oriented ship on the top side here. But the back side of the ship is still going to need like these thrusters to move this whole rig around, and that's kind of a problem as well. And then I'd have to double up the power setup. I might not have to run fusion reactors back here or a very big shield, but still it would add a lot of overall cost to the creation. And I really do not want to dump in a whole bunch of thrusters into the saucer area. I was specifically trying to keep the thrusters out of there. And the great thing about a Star Trek ship is that they have nacelles, which is a really awesome opportunity to put in all these big hot thrusters and keep them away from the central body of the ship. So like I'm not worried, you're not going to fry anybody on all these thrusters here. And I would really hate to have to dump all the thrusters into the saucer section of the ship to get it to fly. And it's fairly big, and it would have a lot of heavy parts in there and xeno reinforcing and stuff. So it would need some pretty beefy thrusters even in the saucer just to make that go. And I think it would look kind of bad too, seeing thruster things sticking out of the ship. Now I could bury them all, but I really don't like to do that. I do like to, if possible, and I almost always do this, I try to keep them so they're technically viable. Like I'll have an exposed thruster like this, but I'll put it behind the non-airtight grates or something like that. And that's kind of the idea on what I did with the Proxima as well. So other than that, I'm just curious on what you guys think, and I'm talking a lot about the specs. Do you want to see it like this ultra high-end, very expensive ship, or should I tone it down a little bit? Not have it come with all these big parts and fusion reactors and things like that. The problem with the fusion reactors, though, is either it comes with them, or I have to create a different space to hold advanced generators. They don't both fit in the same room area, which is like a fusion reactor is a 5x5x5 model, and the advanced generators are a 6x2x2. As you can see, the dimensions are so far different that they don't even fit in the same room space area, which is kind of a little bit troublesome too. But again, this is a pretty big ship. Right now, it's only sitting at size class 5. I do expect this ship to get to probably about 16 to 19 in size class, but don't quote me on that because I'm usually wrong when I guess on size class. I'm comparing it to the Proxima. Now, the Proxima ended up being a size class 11, so it's not that big of a ship overall. I mean, it's pretty big, but it's not super big. This ship is just going to have so much more interior space and things like that that I'm going to really ramp that size class up quite a bit more. But I would really like to keep it below 20. I don't want to make it unusable, and that's kind of the way I'm seeing it right now. Is once you get too high up there in size class, you kind of make your ship not very usable for a lot of people, at least people playing on servers that have restrictions on their size class and things like that, and maybe potential performance problems. But I think with all the optimizations done to the game, that maybe those performance problems won't be much of a thing anymore. So not so worried about that. But did want to get your feedback and thoughts though on the whole idea of the ship and how I want to configure it. And again, the saucer, removing the saucer idea or having it a separate vessel, I do think it is a very cool idea. It's just the logistics behind it in Empyrion, it make it troublesome for sure. Now, one other advantage of that, if the saucer could remove from the ship, would be you could say, well, you got all your storage and whatnot back in this part of the ship in production, so you can split up the CPU. So the back part of the ship, would handle all that. The saucer would handle all the combat-oriented stuff. That is technically true. But again, the saucer is still going to be heavy. It's still going to need its own set of thrusters. I can't remove the thrusters from the back of the ship because they need to move the whole rig. Another side effect too, if you're down here, say, and there's a production area down in here, and you're doing your thing, and then you get attacked by something. Well, this docked other CV, which would be the saucer, is not going to fire back at it. It might have all the guns and everything going on there, but because it's docked to the other CV, it's going to do nothing. So you're just going to start to get shot, and then you're going to have to evac out of this and get up into the saucer, get into a pilot seat somewhere, detach it from the back part of the ship before this ship can actually become online. And at that point in time, too, the shield would probably have to go through its charge cycle. I don't think it would be a good idea, and it's the same reason why I didn't do it with the Proxima. But it's technically possible to do it in Empyrion. It would work in game. It's just I would have to duplicate so many expensive CPU parts and power generation and dump in thrusters all over the saucer, and I just didn't really want to do that. I think it would make the creation overall more expensive yet, and I think make it just not as good. It would be a little bit more confusing to use it. You would have a lot of these weird issues, again, like the saucers landed on the back part of the ship, it could not fire at anything. If you're just flying around with the whole ship as in one, and there's some bad guys there, you'd have to go find a corner somewhere to park and detach a saucer and leave the other part behind, and then go do your attacking and then come back and redock it again, which could be a little bit tricky. I'd have to set up a special pilot seat and probably some form of guidelines and things to try to accurately dock the saucer back to the main body of the ship. So there's just a lot of issues. It's all technically possible to do, but I really don't want to have the saucer detached for those reasons. But I really wanted to explain it on why. And it's not because I'm scared of doing the detachment method or things like that. I've played around with the modules quite a bit, and I'm not really scared of that kind of thing anymore. You could pull off quite a bit of different docking procedures, but I just think it wouldn't make the ship a better ship. It would, I think, it make it a lot worse and more expensive, and be detracting with thrusters all over the saucer and doubling up the power and all the other different things that you'd have to do to make it two separate independent ships. And it would still be racking up the CPU. These big parts that really suck up the CPU, they would all have to be in the saucer, like all your shield parts and stuff. But then I would actually want to put some more parts like that back in the back part of the ship. And then I would also have to add a bunch of turrets or some kind of at least drone defensive turrets to the back part of the ship as well, which I really don't want to do. I wanted to keep all the weaponry kind of on around the saucer area, kind of like I did with the Proxima as well. So other than that, that's pretty much all I've got today. I'm just curious on your opinion on this. What do you think? Is there any design issues that are come into mind there is some of the proportions, dimensions, or other things not looking right to you, or any recommendations on how to improve the looks. Now, granted, this is all early. I'm going to try to get some more detail into a lot of parts of the ship, and of course, I got to finish up the whole back side of it yet. It's going to be a little bit longer back over here, and then I got to do the whole top of the saucer and the top of the neck area as well. So, other than that, I do just plan on making it a higher end model of what the Proxima is, with both shielding and weaponry probably storage and probably everything. The Proxima also had a pretty dinky farm in it at only, I think, 18 grow plots, where this ship I've got a whole lot more room. I'm undecided on how many grow plots I want to put in it, but it will have a farming section. It will definitely be bigger than that of the Proxima's farming section. And then, of course, I do have room for all these big shield parts, but I should have enough extra space for some other little fluff things I'd like to put in, because it's a Star Trek ship, like a holodeck or a transporter room, stuff like that. It's give it a little interior character. One last thing before I end the video, actually, is solar panels. I may try to do the same operation I did, or the same method I did with the Proxima. The Proxima, per se, doesn't really have much in solar panels on it, because I really hate to put solar panels on a lot of these CVs, especially like a Star Trek ship. But how I arranged the Proxima is every one of these little side rooms kind of going around the saucer area. I made these rooms around a certain size so you could put in large solar panels throughout these rooms. Like, this room can hold 4 large solar panels if they're going like that, but every single one of these rooms was designed to hold at least 1 solar panel, 1 to 4 basically, depending on the room. And I might try to do the same method on the new ship, just so you could place in the solar panels if you wanted them. But if you don't, you just have open room space, kind of like what you see right over here. So that way, I don't have to put them in stock. A player can add the solar panels if they want them, and they'll be out of the way and just be in these random rooms all over the place that I'm sure this other ship's going to have as well. Again, with the saucer section, I'm going to try to do a hallway that kind of wraps around, kind of more of in a circular fashion, around probably the main bridge area, similar to how the Proxima was laid out on the saucer section as well. Now, this saucer, again, much bigger. It's going to potentially have full 2 to 3 floors to it inside this area, and even more if you go all the way down here. So it's a big ship. It really is. It's going to take quite a while to build this whole thing out on the insides, and I'm going to be conscious of the size class too. I don't want to shoot it up there to make it so big and such a high size class that it's virtually unusable in gameplay for most people, at least. So other than that, I will shut up now, and let me know what you think, and you all have yourself a great day. I'll talk to you later.